Alright everyone, what is up? This is Ebro Dempsey Roll, aka Rayo, and I'm back with some more hobby stuff. Let's stream with the camera. Here we are, the good old camera. There's Ritsuka. We're going to be doing a bit of Ritsuka work today, in addition to some other stuff that we can get into a little later. But yeah, so just decided to do a little stream today, a little later than normal. If it can be said that I do have a normal time frame for streaming. Just because I picked up some stuff and I figure might as well strike while the iron is hot. Well, we can take a look at this stuff that I picked up recently. I'm kind of excited about it, to be honest. It's pretty interesting stuff. Um, and then, yeah, we can work on a few other things, but how about we start off working on Ritsuka today? I have been doing a number of sessions just working on this model here. In the evening or at night before I go to bed. It's kind of like a nice chill activity to do. As you're winding down your day, you can kind of just relax and work on a model. I like it. It's kind of nice actually. And I don't even do much, right? Like per session. I can do like one or two steps. And then I'm like, okay, great. Now I'm off to bed. But yeah, let's work on this now. So the last time I worked on this, last night, I put together just these arm pieces, and I already have her torso done, as well as the other arm and all her hands. It's all in here. These little containers that I got, they're pretty useful just for kind of containing all your progress thus far, and I've got a number of these little containers that I just hold random stuff in, and you can kind of easily reorganize this stuff and you know, put them away, put this stuff away when you're done with it and use it for something else. But yeah, let's get started. I had put these pieces together, and I also did some seam line removal. I also used some of the Tamiya extra thin cement to glue those parts and sort of weld them together, bond them together. And so now we can actually kind of file along the seam line and kind of buff it out, I guess. Is that the right word? Although for this part, the seam does look solid, except at the very end. Right here, there's a tiny gap. You guys can't probably see it, but I might leave this part alone for now. And I will consider working on making some sprue goo, to create that bond. To create like some filler. I'll think about it because, okay, so if it was just this little part here, not a big deal. I'd probably leave it alone. However, on the torso, this is Ritsuka's torso here, there's a bit of a gap. I can see that there's a bit of a gap here. Enhance. It's probably not too visible to the camera here, but to see it in person, you can kind of see it. So I might get rid of it then. But I think that will wait until the entire model is finished, and then we'll go in and paint that stuff or fill it. I'll make a decision then. And one thing I learned from working on my gunpla model, the one that I was working on previously, the build fighter one, was when you're doing seam line removal, when you're using cement and putting together two parts, and there's already there's going to be a joint like this, you have to be very careful, right? Because what actually ended up happening with the other model is that it just Fumina, by the way, the name escapes me, winning Fumina, it was very much like this, and I filled in the gap, or rather I filled it with cement, pressed down, and some extra cement got into this joint part, and I didn't know it. A joint part very similar to this. And so when I went to check on the model later, this part, which is supposed to be flexible, was completely fused. My bad. So I did end up fixing it. I kind of cut away, like just using my knife here, kind of cutting away at the fused part, and then it was able to move again. But yeah, that was one of those things where I'm glad I practiced on winning Fumina, which is, you know, it's an okay model in my opinion, but not super amazing. But yeah, like, it was my first model coming back to this and practicing various techniques like that with that model, so that when it came to this Ritsuka, we could kind of have a bit more experience. But let's start now. So we're gonna try and do some seam line removal. Gonna get rid of the extra material that has been created here. And we're just gonna be very careful. Let me adjust my seat a little bit. I can kind of hold it up to the camera a little closer. Or not. Let's get this a little more aligned a bit. So yeah, we're just kind of take it easy today. Do a bit of progress, and then make a bit more progress on this model, and yeah, we can talk about some other stuff later. Pretty casual today, and then tomorrow I'll take a break, as I have to work on some other stuff, some other, you know, streaming and YouTube stuff behind the scenes, blah blah blah. Boring stuff, kind of. And so I'm also trying to be very careful to only remove the material that's extra, that's sort of like raised. And we're just gonna kind of follow the line here, because previously, not slide, what is up? First time chat, how's it going? How's it going? First time viewer? I feel like we've met somewhere, haven't we? Was it in Bacon's chat or someone else? But how are you doing? What are you up to? Forgive me if I don't remember. I feel like I should remember these things. Just being very careful. And yeah, when I was working on winning Fumina. Oh, you raided Bacon last night. Okay, cool. Cool. So what have you been working on lately? Oh, were we all talking about we must have been talking about Mecha Musume models then. I take it that seems to be a subject very near and dear to Bacon's heart as of late. Can't blame him. I can't blame him. How's the Musume kit? I'm big chillin', just lurking Twitch, seeing what other builders are building. Big chillin'. I want to be big chillin'. That sounds good. I'm kind of like medium chillin' right now. I'm trying to maximize my chilling points. But this model, I'm liking it so far. So this is actually my first Mecha Musume model. I had previously built Winning Fumina, which is like a somewhat older model, right? It was like 2016 or 2015, 2011, I don't know. Winning Fumina, and that was actually a gift. I received it as a gift, but I hadn't built it for like basically years. for one reason or another, I just never got around to it. And lately, because it's just kind of going around these days, like building models and everything, I was like, hey, let's build this model. I've got that model. Let's do it. And I also had purchased this model previously. I had purchased this model like in February, and I felt like because I paid a fair amount of money for this, like relatively speaking, like for me at least personally, I felt like this was a fair chunk of change. I'm not used to spending that much money on model kits. I know that for a lot of people who have been into it for a very long time, it's probably not that much, but I was like, let's practice on winning Fumina first. Practice all the building skills, because like I'm very rusty at it. Like as a teenager, as a kid, I used to build models, but not really these days. So let's just practice, and yeah, here we are. Not Slide, I really want to buy a few of these Madoka kits and put them in one of the little armory gun ranges. Yeah, so, initially when I had seen these models, when I had originally sort of discovered these, it was like Zaku released his review, and I had seen Ritsuka, and I was like, wow, I didn't know they made models like this. I didn't know they made models of just like normal high school students, like normal humans, basically, rather than like elaborate mecha suit girls and everything. I like those too, but I kind of more gravitated towards like something a little more low-key in some respects. I was like, cool. So yeah, I thought it was really neat, and then I went to a store and there it was. So I was like, yeah, let's do this. And I liked Ritsuka the most, although lately I'm like, Madoka does look pretty neat. Do I have it? I have, I bought this recently. The, sorry for the glare. The MSG accessory kit with the shinai and the boken and a wrapped up sword of some kind. And on the back they show the models with it, right? And there was some cool pictures of Madoka. This one's Madoka. What's her name? I forget. But there's some pictures of Madoka with like a katana and stuff. And I was like, you know what? That picture of Madoka made me like Madoka now. I was like, she's cool. So I don't know. And they showed two more SST models recently. Did they not? I forget their names, but I might get them. Not Slide, I have a buddy that buys the little cafes and other goodies for them too. Oh man, you could do a little after-school sword club. That would be cool. Yeah, that that was kind of like the general idea. I am pretty excited. Although, you know what? There was a table, right? There was like a little table cafe and a chair, and it came with like bubble tea or something. Actually, they might show it here. And I haven't seen it around, like at the stores, like the brick and mortar stores that I've been to. I haven't seen it. Oh, this one right here. Right there? Yeah. I might have to seek this out, because it is pretty neat. But I was also considering making some furniture myself. Bacon thinks I'm a little crazy for doing that, but I don't think it's going to be too hard, to be honest. If I use some balsa wood and kind of make like a simple table and chair, maybe. I don't think it'll be that hard. So yeah, I was thinking about trying to make my own furniture to some extent. And that'll be cool. Can I show you something else? There's something else I can show you real quick. Might as well, since we're on the subject of things we can do for our models and everything. So I picked up this one recently. Plamax Maydroid Chloe. And I just had this idea in mind of oh snap. I had this idea in mind of like having the maid kind of like assisting Ritsuka here. You know, like she's like Ritsuka's maid, and she kind of follows her around. Some lame anime trope like that. But yeah, I really wanted to get Meow and Alice. Yeah, I like Alice a lot as well. Meow, I don't like as much. She kind of like she's so similar to Chloe that I'm kind of like I like Chloe more. So let's just go with Chloe. And Alice is really cool though. And actually, I kind of confused Alice. There's so that line, the Plamax Guilty Princess line. They have an Alice, which is sort of themed around Alice in Wonderland. She's blonde. She has a blue and white color scheme. She has like a key. She has sort of like a key accessory. And I got her confused with the Alice model that's coming out from the what's the word I'm looking? What is it? Megami device. Wow, it's hard to remember words sometimes. Yes. Not slide. That's the one. Megami device. Yeah. So there's an Alice. I think it's like Chaos and Pretty Alice, and that one looks pretty cool too. And funnily enough, it's also Alice in Wonderland theme. She's blonde. She has a blue and white color scheme. She also has like a key accessory, and but that model is really cool because she has a big mecha rabbit thing like by her side. And I was like, ooh, that's pretty cool. Kind of want to get that. So here I've done a bit of seam line removal, but there's a bit of a gap here that is not going to come out. I don't think it's going to come out via sanding. So I might go in with some sprue goo, and fill it in and then sand it. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I don't know if you can really see. Sorry. Let's try and get this focused. Yeah, you probably can't really see it. But I was able to sort of do a decent amount of seam line removal for this part here. However, right here, there's a gap, and it's likely not going to come out by sanding. So I'm thinking about doing some sprue glue. I don't know if you've ever played around with that stuff. Not slide. Yeah, you're saying sprue glue will definitely work. Okay, I've done it before, just once before. Again, working on my winning Fumina model. So we won't work on that part anymore. We won't be sanding that, because I don't really want to sand and then do sprue glue and then sand again. I only want to sand once, so we'll leave it at that. So I take it that you've built a number of these kinds of models then, not slide? Because yeah, like I said, this is my first model of this kind, and I am a little nervous about the joints and everything. I keep hearing about the issues with the ball joints and how they can break and all of this, and it has freaked me out. I'm not gonna lie. I think we're looking at this and this. I think it goes like that. Okay, ta-da! And then we can choose a hand. Oh, let's catch up with the chat. Sorry if I'm not looking at the chat as often as I should. Sometimes I kind of just get focused on my work, on the work here. Not slide. The Mecha Rabbit and Keyblade made me go wild. Yeah, very cool, very cool. I think that the at the store that I frequent, my sort of local store, the pre-orders have closed on that Alice, but that's okay. We'll see. We'll see if I end up getting it. I'm not sure. I think I might like the Megami device Alice more than the Guilty Princess Alice. What are your thoughts on that? It's very amusing that there's two Alice models. Not slide. That little cap runs the risk of being too thin if you try to sand, right? And sprue goo will definitely work. Do you have colored sprue goo, waifu juice, if you will? I do actually. So I have some from my previous build of winning Fumina. So I will be making a new batch of waifu juice. That's a that's a weird way of putting it, but yeah, I do have some. I have some extra jars. I've got like these are like a really great size that I got at the dollar store. These ones here, and I don't even need to fill them that much. Just like a little bit, I think will be enough. So I'll make a new batch for Ritsuka. Not a big deal. Because my feeling is that the color is probably close, like the winning Fumina model and this model. It's probably pretty close in terms of color matching, but I might as well just use another bottle and make one special for her. I built a couple. I like building all sorts of models. But you don't do anything like closing the gaps. Oh, but you do custom paintwork. Have you posted your Instagram at all? Like, or do you have an Instagram? I would like to check out your work. I may have seen your work. Maybe if it was on Bacon Stream or something. But yeah, I'd love to see your work if that's something that you'd like to share. Yeah. So when I used to build models like way back in the day, I never really did any seam line removal, and I was pretty shitty about about like the nubs and everything as well. So when I came back to the hobby, that was one of those things where I was like, okay, we're gonna try and level up our game a bit and you know, do some seam line removal, do all of that stuff. Especially when the model costs like as much as it does. I'm kind of like, yeah, let's you know, let's try and do a little better job than I normally would have. So that's the first hand down. I've prepared all of these pieces previously. Let's just leave it like that for now. It can go in a lot further. Ah, there's your Instagram. Let's check it out. Custom paintwork. I'm excited to see that. So yeah, I'm looking at this off stream. I need to figure out how to properly do that kind of thing on stream. Oh wow. Oh wow. So this is combining stuff from the battle log models. Very cool. 30-minute sister. Wow. Very nice. This almost looks like computer graphics. It looks so like smooth and reflective. Good job. I also like the skin tone as well. I like how you have like you gave her like a darker complexion there. Very cool. Nice. I'm gonna give you a follow a little later when I get the chance. If I take a break maybe, or the next when I'm done streaming. But yeah, awesome work. Good job. The last Mecha Musume I worked on that I posted, it's my first time doing skin tone. I was super happy about it. Yeah, you should be. Good job. Good stuff. Were you nervous at all when it came down to like, you know, airbrushing and working on the skin tone? I don't know. I would be pretty nervous. Like, oh crap. Okay, so we gotta choose a hand for her as well. Let's get my instructions. I'm looking at the digital instructions since they're in English. Not slide. Paint isn't permanent. Oh, yeah, that's true. So what would you use then if you were going to do some seam line? Sorry, what would you use if you were going to remove the paint to strip it? What would you use? Let's see here. And we got Bacon in the house. What's up, Bacon? How are you doing? We're just taking it easy today. We're gonna work on this model here, and then we're gonna look at some stuff that I bought recently. So it looks like this arm I might be able to get away with just sanding down the seam here, and it should disappear completely. Let's try. Not slide. A good sonic cleaner and the right paint remover will go very far. Okay. Yeah, because that's actually something that I will probably want to get into a little later. So I mentioned that I'm kind of coming back to this hobby of building model kits, like Japanese model kits. However, I'm more experienced with Warhammer and painting models, like miniature models for Warhammer and stuff like that. And just today, I ended up finding a bunch of Warhammer stuff and other miniatures from other model ranges. Some of them are painted and some of them are metal. So you can use acetone to strip the paint off of those. However, some are plastic, and if I wanted to strip the paint off of plastic, I think I need to use something else because acetone will melt the plastic. I think I need to get like Detol. Is it called Detol or something like that? Bacon, not much. You're playing FF7 Remake. Ooh, the DLC. So that's new, right? Like, you haven't played that before? The DLC, that is. That's cool. When did that come out? Just gonna try and take out this seam. We'll see how that works. But if it doesn't really come out, if this gap is too persistent, we'll go in with the sprue goo. That was always the intent with the skin, that is, that I'd have to use it. But I'm being very careful not to take off more material than necessary. I think when I was working on my winning Fumina model, I kind of sanded a whole lot more than I needed to, like kind of going around the entire surface. Whereas this time I'm just sort of focusing in on the exact area where the seam is. And again, this is sort of like a spot that I'm going to have to come back to, it seems, because the gap here is a little too it's a little too persistent. So we'll get rid of that via sprue goo, I think. But we'll carry on just putting together the model just normally, just to see. Bacon, first time playing it, figured play something short. Oh, it's short, eh? Okay, okay. Trying to remove the seams, yeah. So last night I used the cement right here, and I just let it do its thing. You don't really need to leave it overnight, but I did. And I also made sure that I didn't get any glue on the seam, on the on the joint here like this. So it's fine. But yeah, I'm noticing here there's a little bit of a gap. It's actually not too bad, to be honest, but we might go in with some sprue goo. All right, so let's put on this arm here. And I'm just looking at my instructions. this. There we go. And we'll put the hands. I cleaned up the hands. I don't want to stick it fully in because I know I'm going to probably take it out later, so let's just kind of put it in a little bit. Ta-da! There's the hands, the arms. So here's the tricky part that I'm a little concerned about, is placing it into the body. And so, for all you experts out there, the two of you, it's time to put these into the joint. And I keep hearing about the ball joint. So with this, should I sand it down, the ball joint? Time to shave them balls. This is the time, I suppose, right? Like how? Because I can tell it's not going to go in without a decent amount of force, and that freaks me out. You know what I'm saying? So I should probably shave it down a bit so I don't need to apply as much force. Correct? Let's just give it a few passes like this, I guess. Shave a little bit. Shave a little bit. I'm just kind of spinning I'm sort of spinning the part around and passing my file on it as I spin it. And I'll just kind of try it and test it out periodically. I suspect I'm not taking off that much right now, but I'll check it in a second. This is the most coarse sandpaper that I have. And let's try. This is yeah, so this could be the entirety of the stream as I work on this, because again, I haven't done anything to this extent before, and I want to do it well. So let's just gonna, yeah. See, I can feel like it needs a lot of force, you know? More force than, say, putting in a Lego part, like a ball socket joint for Lego. My sense is that it needs more force than that. So I'm just going to continue to kind of like shave off and then check periodically. I mean, in some respects, I could see that shaving off a little more is better than shaving off not enough. Because if it becomes the case where it's probably too loose, I could add some kind of paint or something to kind of add a bit more thickness. This is why if Lego ever got into making, like, you know, model kits, not like buildable toys, but like legit model kits, I think that they'd actually do a good job. Okay, let's check again. Let's check again. First of all, let's make sure this is clean. Oh, it went in nicely. That was pretty nice, I think. Ta-da! Yay, we did it. Now we have to do it for the other arm. The other arm. Yeah. See, I feel the resistance. Like, I feel like it doesn't feel like it's gonna go in nicely. So we're just gonna do the same thing. Couple of passes. So how are you liking that DLC then, Bacon? For Final Fantasy. Now slowly move it around to check it. Roger that. Let's do it slow. What am I looking for? The range of movement seems pretty okay. Slowly move it around, slowly move it around. I feel like I could take it out if I wanted to, but I'm not going to just yet. Feels pretty nice. Now slowly move it around. Doucement. Whoop! Alright. Is it loose? Nah, I think it's okay. Just want to make sure it doesn't feel stiff at certain angles. No, it doesn't feel loose. It doesn't feel stiff. It doesn't feel loose. It feels okay. Like it's not drooping down, right? Then you're good. Nice. Yay. Yeah, this whole aspect of having to do this, it kind of freaks me out. But at the same time, as I said, it's probably not too big of a deal if you take off a bit more material, because on the other end of the spectrum is leaving it as is and having the friction, like the tension point too high, and then it snaps, right? Some part snaps because there's just far too much resistance, tension. Ritsuka is not loose. Night Trap, okay. See, this feels like too much resistance, right? So we'll just kind of carefully do a bit more. Yeah, too much pressure. You don't want that. And the head joint too, like basically any ball joint, right? That's the general idea. Any ball joint you want to make sure. Bacon. It's all on the Sixers now, right? There's no pressure. There's no pressure on the Raptors, dude. They're good. This was not even in the cards for them. No one expected the Raptors to achieve even this much, right? So it's all good. It's all on the Sixers, man. Okay, so that went in, and that was a little more resistance than the other one. But I think we can... This one is slightly more, like, when I put it in, it was a bit more resistance. But I think it should be okay. I think. There we are. Ta-da! Okay, so I think we might take a little break from this. We might come back to it, but I wasn't planning on streaming for too long today. I did want to get to some of the finds, some pickups that we got around that we had today. So how about we take a little pause from this, and I'll come back to this perhaps a little later or a little later today off stream. But I'm very happy with the progress thus far. I do have her heads. However, the instructions do not indicate that we should put the head on just now. So let's not be hasty. Let's not be hasty. Not gonna attach her head. Yeah, I would have to shave this ball. All right. We got a demand from the audience. I think we can at least take a look and try. Let's see. Where are my heads? Where are my heads at? Let's try. I've got all the extra pieces. Let's try this one. In the instructions, it's set. The next part is actually her hips and legs, but we can take a quick look and see. So again, the head is another part that we need to do a few more passes, right? Am I correct in saying that? The head is the ball for the head. We need to kind of do the same thing for. Because yeah, I do feel some resistance yet again. Bacon, I love to ignore the instructions and perform some premature insertion. Same thing for the head. All right, let's go for it. I mean, the temptation is high to kind of get to the good parts, but I'm the sort of person that's willing to delay satisfaction. Also, there might be a good reason why the instructions are telling you to wait on that, and if you kind of jump the gun, you might run into some problems. That's happened to me with, or that was a potential mistake when I was working on the exo frame. Was there was a couple of parts where I was very tempted to just straight up glue something, but then it was like, oh no, they want you to remove this part. It's almost like with that model, they wanted you to build up a certain point and then actually take off parts and then put on other parts, so it would be bad if I had glued something. Let's kind of do a couple passes on this. Okay. Okay, let's just kind of clean that up and try. There we are. Ta-da! Let's hold it up a little closer. Enhance. Pretty nice. You know, I think this might be a good opportunity to use. Where is it? Ah, someone beat me to it. There you go. Not bad. I went with this head, by the way, because the hair is a bit more like solid. The other hairstyles, they're really nice, but I feel like you have to be very delicate with them. But this is a fairly sturdy construction for the hair. But yeah, not bad. Let's try and take off the head now. Okay, we did it. Let's try and we'll take off the head and put it back. And it's pretty amazing. So they give you 3 different hairstyles for Ritsuka here. You can actually put this in here now. This is the ponytail, and just look at like the waving strands. It's so cool. Like, I think that's awesome looking. And then this is like just with her hair down, which was the first part of the instructions. Pretty cool. And these ones here are also for the braids. You can, this is like her braids, kind of like at ease in a relaxed position. But you can also swap them out and use these sort of like flowing, running, or, you know, like action braids. to have it like have some movement. Just really cool stuff. That's the thing about this model kit, is like it seems like that was the thing, that was the trade-off. Where other models might have like guns, you know, like more guns and like armor parts, they took all of that and instead said like, let's just move all of that, what would have been that sort of stuff, that material, and put it into like more hair, more head pieces, stuff like that, and like extra skirt parts. Like she has extra skirts and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, pretty cool.